Well, the big Champions League nights against the English sides keep on coming in this final season at Distillery. We've also got the second leg of a cup final tonight, and hopefully we can get our first trophy of the season. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 181 of this Build a Nation story, Lifting Spirits with me, Daniel. We are back today to face Derry City in the All-Ireland Cup final. That game's on a bit of a knife edge with the first leg having been in the international break, and the second game is going to be against Spurs at home. In the Champions League, we played better last time against Chelsea without getting that result on the road. Well, now we're back at our temporary home, and we've got the Northern Irish crowd behind us. So if you want to see if that can lead us to victory, then do put a thumbs up on the video. Of course, if you missed it, our FM24 plans video earlier in the week is up in the eye above. But for now, it is all focus on Lisburn Distillery, because we've got through a fair few games since you were last here. Now let's go and have a look at the schedule to see what they were, because we have had a best part of 2 months worth of fixtures, and most of it has gone relatively well. So we have had a bit of a trouble with clean sheets in comparison to normal. We're usually keeping a lot more than we have done in recent times. But crucially, we picked up 2 big home wins in the Champions League, narrowly against Marseille. But Puric and Hendry scored goals in a comfortable win. And in fairness, they scored a late consolation. For the most part, we were dominant. We also got a crucial win against Linfield in the league and drew with Larne either side of that. But considering we rotated quite heavily, they're not bad outcomes at all. We also beat Trabzonspor by 4-0, 2 for Declan Hendry, 1 for Puric and 1 for Paleka. And then in the November international break, we beat Derry City 1-0 in the first leg of the Irish Champions Cup final. Rivera got the goal for us there, and you can see from the subs we made, 2 youth players and Miraval Austin coming on. We didn't really have a lot of players available, but the 11 we could put out was not too bad by normal standards. We then won the Antrim Shield semi-final, had disappointment in Milan. Was another game actually that was very similar to Chelsea. We played very well in the first half. We didn't take chances. A pretty ludicrous own goal started the second half. Cross across the box just deflected in. And then they scored 2 screamers. And we scored a great goal as well with Del Guidice, who may have only joined in the summer, but is already unhappy and wants to leave for a bigger club for his national team prospects. So we talked about that superstar we're getting in the last episode. That man Ryan Leary is joining us next month, but the reason we were able to get him is the same reason we'll probably lose Del Guidice, so it's not really worked out that well. If we add to that he's also injured and unavailable today, as is Paleka and as is Zheng, we're a little bit short in that attacking midfield area, and I am going to go with the front 4 against Tottenham Hotspur and play our normal home tactic. I'm hoping it'll work, and as a result of that, we're going to need some of these available. Hopefully, 2 out of the 3 will be back by then. But for now, let's go and get through to the first of today's 2 games. Then we'll turn our focus to the Champions League and see how the other sides in the nation are getting on in Europe. But for now, we have got a 1-goal lead to hold on to. And today, we've just about got our strongest 11 to choose from. So let's get through to the team selection. This is what we've gone for. It is David Ekon in goal. Freeman and Azier the fullbacks with Puric and O'Donnell as centre-half. Xavier and Montero the midfield 2. Rivera, Bayavang and Rodriguez the attacking midfield 3. And Declan Hendry on his own up front. Not sure why we've changed angle there. That's what we want to see. The bench is relatively strong, but we are running out of players a little bit. Miraval Austin get a rare appearance on there. And the likes of Zhen, Schweb and Timofeyev all missing out due to injury or fatigue. We can't take risks with injuries at this stage of the season. If it means our bench is slightly weaker for odd games, then so be it. I'm trying to really manage match load this time around. I'm hoping it'll benefit us later in the year, and that's why we came in undercooked at the start of the season. So let's go and submit the team for the first one today. Fingers crossed it'll be a team that can get the job done, because we have dropped some silly league points already this year, and I really don't want to throw away this cup game. If we have a look at the Derry City side, they're not quite what they were a couple of years ago. They've still got a few of their very good players, and they've got a few young ones who are quality. No Mark Scully, which is interesting. We might go and have a look at why. Is he injured? Is he suspended? Is there something going on there? He is injured. I would have expected him to play. But you look at the other striker there, Sean Ball. He's on 13 grand a week, but he's coming to the end, and they have lost 3 or 4 players over the last year or so who are all in that sort of 33, 34 bracket. So they're not the team that they were before, but they're still pretty good. Into the first half we go, through the tunnel interview. It's a big cup final. It's our first chance at silverware. We've got a slender advantage heading into this one. Well, 12 minutes gone, we've got a corner kick with Xavier and a penalty's been awarded. Puric lost the header at the back post, but he also ended up on the floor. And that has led to a penalty, which I'm sure will be taken by Declan Hendry. It is. Steps up right-footed into the bottom corner. And the one thing I was hoping for from this game is that with Derry being an older side and us being a much younger one, we'd be able to overrun them, we'd be able to catch them later on, win corners, free kicks, whatever else. Didn't expect the method to be a penalty from the corner, but we've got the lead nonetheless. It's 2-0 on aggregate. One more and I'll start to feel confident. Well, it's been a very quiet first half, to be honest, and with 35 on the clock, it's Rodriguez with a through ball. Awful defensive work, and Hendry almost gets in and capitalises. He then does from the goal kick. I've not seen that before. It was played back to Kelleher, who tried to clear, smashes Hendry in the head, and goes over the bar. It could have gone anywhere in truth. But at half-time, Derry City probably had less of a threat than they have for many a year. If you remember, this is the side that denied us Champions League football at least 2 or 3 times earlier in the save. They beat us in European qualifying, they've had quality players, they've reached the last 8 of a Champions League, but here they're not able to do anything like it. As Kelleher, no idea what he's doing there. Freeman almost getting a rare goal off the woodwork, and here he is again to Montero. I don't want to kibosh it or say something too soon that I might regret, but we do look completely in control here. Rivera's in again, a defection is slid the ball over the bar, and now it's a corner kick which Xavier will take to the back post. Puric is up again, wins the header this time, but it's just wide. It stays 1-0, but Derry City have got no threat, and we should probably have had 2 by now. Well, 25 minutes to go, and we can start to rotate a bit here. We've been struggling with the fitness of Balikci, but I'm going to get him a run out for Bayavang. I'm also going to take off Montero for Houston. We've only got 3 subs in this competition, so I do need to be careful with the last one. Rodriguez has been struggling with injuries this year. Not really got anyone that can play off the left though. So it might have to be the right-hand side. Rauha for Rivera as an option. Could take Freeman off for a rest too. Let's give it 5 more minutes, then we'll make the decision. We're still 1-0 up, we look fairly comfortable, but I'm not sure that I want to change anything defensively. And I think now we probably will go for Rivera. He'll be replaced by Ricardo Rauha. Great chance for him to get a run out. He's done pretty well this season as a backup striker. He's looked more threatening than both Miraval, Austin and Scully looked last year. And now Derry City have managed a shot on target, but this is their first attacking highlight, 83 minutes in. I say that, if they score this, it will be one hell of a grandstand finish. Back to the edge of the box, and they have scored it. Steve Laird makes it 1-0 on the night. And now, we need to be a bit careful, because it's 2-1 on aggregate. We've been pegged back a little, and we need to make sure we hold on. This is the problem if you don't kill a game off. We're in the 4 minutes added on, we've got the time wasting on, and it seems to have done the trick. Not a vintage result, but a very good performance overall. A 2-1 aggregate victory. We got through the first leg with all of those players on international duty. And in a second, we have done the job. A very good display, but the goals maybe not flowing as much as I'd like. A great performance though, and an important result. We start the attempts at the clean sweep. We've missed out on it 2 of the last 3 years. In our final season, we want to get it. The Champions Cup of Ireland is going to Lisburn Distillery. Derry City have been beaten. Now we turn our attention to the real Champions League with a Tottenham Hotspur clash next Tuesday. Well, I was one day out with our return day. It's Wednesday night, in fact, that we're playing Tottenham Hotspur. And if we did have any temptation to play the back 3 or the back 5 at home in this game, well, it's been taken by the fact that our weekend match against Glenavon, despite being a relatively comfortable 2-0 win, saw a big injury to Ender Gunders, which means we haven't got a holding midfielder fit, so there's no option to do it anyway. We've also got a triple header against Linfield coming up in a space of 4 days, so we're going to have to manage the squad carefully here. Before we go and get into this game though, we need to do a quick European update, and we start on the international side, because big news to finish off this save. We have qualified for a World Cup, and we even got a point off England in our final 2 games. We get through as a lucky loser in second place, and that means we miss out on the playoffs and the heartbreak that comes with that. So really pleased to go to the World Cup. A really good achievement to finish off the save. And that could end up being something you guys take on immediately if you take over this save at the end of the year. Some crucial 8-1-0 wins, some really good results. Very happy with those performances. And now there's a whole stream in the under-18s and under-19s of brilliant youth players coming through who are from Premier League academies and developing quickly. I mean, if you have a look at that under-21 squad there are a lot of players with very big potential. Whether they reach it or not, we'll wait and see. In terms of club level though, let's have a look at how our counterparts from Northern Ireland have been getting on in Europe. And the news is, it's been a bit better than since you were last with me. So Linfield, after that disappointing start, have actually picked up a couple of results now. They beat Derry City by 3-0. They beat Karabag by 3-1. And now they've beaten Slovan Bratislava by 2-0. So they should be all but through now with 3 victories. We go and have a look at Larne by comparison. They managed to lose 1-0 away at PAOK. Better than Linfield did at least. But they've got their points on the board early. They managed to get another win against Copenhagen. That adds to the one they got against Steaua Bucharest and the draw they got against Slovan Bratislava. And if they can get a point out of probably not Bilbao but Karabag or Ostend, they should probably get through as well. And then finally, Coleraine are a little bit further up the alphabet. Let's go and have a look at how they've done in the Conference League. And the simple answer is pretty well. They're unbeaten so far, albeit frustrated by draws. Are home to Olympia, away in Turkey. They picked up a point on both of those occasions. And in their last game away at HB, they got a 2-0 victory with our Lone Star Tennant Harding, the latest breakthrough into the Northern Ireland senior squad. And he got a crucial goal for Coleraine in that one as they won 2-0 and move on to 6 points with arguably their easiest home game to come last. So in terms of the Conference League table, Coleraine are in 18th place and one more win should send them through. In the Europa League, Larne and Linfield both doing pretty well. Linfield up in 12th place, Larne in 17th. Both, 2 to 3 points clear of the cut-off point. And in the Champions League, we've picked up 3 wins out of 5 and we're on 9 points. This game against Spurs is a tricky one. We've then got 2 very winnable games. And if we can get those victories, we should move on to 15 points. And with it, maybe even a top 8 place, which will allow us straight through to the last 16 with a friendlier draw on paper too. So let's go and get through the Spurs game, see if we can get a bonus point. I just had the Ballon d'Or vote last week and Diego popped up in there. He is basically the perfect striker. He's on 550 grand a week. He's scoring 1 in 2 at the top level. Got 9 in 14 in a league this year, 4 in a Champions League. And I think his attributes tell you what we're up against. We are a very good side and we've got young talent that might reach near this level, but we've not quite got those players yet. And that is the difference as we come to the end of this save. The glitch means we've only got 4,200 in, which is really annoying. But let's go and get our team picked. It will be the 4-2-3-1. We'll be back in a minute to run through our 11. Well, here is our 11 today, and it's the strongest we can possibly pick. I do feel I should point out that John McDade, our backup keeper, is being chased by Linfield, so there's a good chance he'll move on in January. I'm not going to stop the nation developing, and to be fair, we can probably get as good a backup now. If we have a look at our 11 for this one though, it is virtually full strength. We've got Ademir Balikci back, who didn't start against Derry City. I think the rest of the team is just about the same, so it's him in for Bayavang. The rest of it I think is identical. So let's go and get into it. Distillery v Tottenham Hotspur. We've lost to English opposition in one promising performance on the road. What can we do at home? Well, the big news is that Connor Brown, our star centre-half from the Northern Ireland squad, is benched for Tottenham today. He drops out having played their weekend league game. They've also got Diego starting up front. Martin McKeer is one of the best players in world football too. And Spurs have 2 of the Ballon d'Or contenders. So they're in pretty good nick at the minute. The pressure's all on them though, so we're going to get through the tunnel interview and through the intro music to the first half, where hopefully we can spring a surprise. Well, I guess the good news is at least this stadium is an all-seater as we come back for an early corner. We'll come back to that because within 2 minutes we're ahead. Goran Puric up from a corner. A brilliant delivery to the back post. A flying header there too. He won a penalty in the first game by causing chaos at that back stick. And he's now given us the lead. And I tell you what, if we win this one, we should get 18 points. And then we'll certainly be in the top 8. Progress at last, or am I getting excited too early? as Balikci's shot is straight at the goalkeeper. The best possible start against Spurs. As I was saying though, the one positive for this stadium, albeit it's got a tiny capacity and it's not helping financially, it is an all-seater, so we at least get to see the seats filled with people as Freeman almost gets sent off there. Be careful. Gavin Reid might have to be used today. Morales down the right-hand side, gets towards the byline, beats his man, it's quality play, into Diego. It deflects in, but we know he's always going to hit the target with that finishing rating. Not often you see a striker with better attributes than Haaland, and unfortunately, this one's playing up front against us today. The 18-point dream is over pretty quickly, but it has been a good start regardless. And set pieces looks our best chances. We've got another one with Rodriguez, headed away at the back post towards Balikci. He gives it to Rivera, who's back on halfway, finds Puric, who was making his way back there. But can we make something of it? Through ball to Xavier. It's a great pass. What a through ball that was. Xavier Sinter is peeling off to make it. Did really well to get in behind. It's a glorious finish. But the through ball there, I didn't see it. Was a wonderful play from Rivera. 2-1 to Lisburn Distillery. And we're back on top again. But arguably, we're not playing as well as the Chelsea game, which makes it all the more amusing, to be honest. We're going to reach half-time, and it looks like we're going to hold an advantage. And at the moment, we have got to be thrilled with that performance. Distillery 2, Tottenham 1. We'll ask the lads to keep it up. Imagine what it's going to be like in the knockouts when we're back in our all-new 10,500 stadium. Oh, it's going to be so good. As Santos gives away the ball to Rodriguez. A third goal, and I'd maybe feel confident of getting a result. Balikci's cross dealt with by Hunt and cleared long downfield. Thought that Henry was there in case he needed to pounce on an error. Now we just need to make sure Freeman isn't sent off as Xavier gives the ball away. Would be time for a red card curse, wouldn't it? As Xavier nicks it in a centre circle. Rodriguez, very composed, finds Montero. Switches the play quickly to Rivera. He plays a 1-2 with Xavier. Rivera can take on the fullback, but instead turns backwards to Matthew Freeman. And he lays it back to O'Donnell. Sensible football. Freeman carries the ball into midfield. Big switch up. Rodriguez can't get there. But a header away only finds him on the left. Early cross to Ademir Balikci. And he heads over the bar. 46 on the clock. It's still 2-1. We've had the first chance of the second half too. And whisper it quietly. We look all right here. We've got almost an hour on the clock. I am going to make that change at right back. I'm a little bit worried about Freeman if I'm being honest. So he's going to be replaced by Gavin Reid. I'm also looking at Balikci, who's had some fitness struggles recently. Rodriguez the same. They'll be the next two candidates. But for now, just the one change at right back and half an hour to hold on to what would be a cracking result. As it's a throw for Tottenham Hotspur on the left as Gavin Reid wins it back. Don't give it away again. Composed play for O'Donnell. Good work from him. Goes back to the goalkeeper Ekon and he plays it out to Puric. Has support on the left from Azier, who can carry it forward. Can go down the line here to Rodriguez. Played really well so far here. Looks for the through ball, but it doesn't quite come off. McKeer can bring it away now, and this is when we're in trouble. Diego gets in behind. Our centre-halves can't cope with him, but Ekon can. Making amends for that Chelsea game with a wonderful bit of goalkeeping. And now the two boys I mentioned are knackered, so let's look for subs. Bayavang is an option because he's slightly more defensive-minded in that number 10 role. He's going to be the first one on. And then we've got to choose between Zheng and Paleka. Paleka is the more tricky technical player. Zheng is out-and-out pace down the left. He's a model professional, but he's not quite as fit. Who do we go for here? It's not time for a flair player, is it? Zheng is coming on. Looks a bit nervous. We're not going to worry about that. We got 20 to go. Montero's been average. Do I want to bring someone on for him now, though? Not quite yet. We're going to leave it at 3. We've got 2 more remaining, but only 1 sub break. Diego needs to be closed down. I think the only risk of that is he'll get turned in behind then. Xavier's looking knackered in the Mazzala. Rivera the same on the right. So let's make changes with that in mind. It will be Paleka for Rivera or Willicks. I'm a bit short of options in the middle. So actually, it's going to be Rauhut for Rivera. And then it's going to be Xavier switching with Bayavang. And he'll be replaced by Paleka as the number 10. Not the game for Chris Houston, who had a heavy match load already. And I know it's quite aggressive, but I want to keep some form of attacking intent. We're taking the game to Spurs, and Azier plays out to Zheng. Need to get him spinning in behind, but Bayavang can turn. Finds Montero, who's got support. Poor ball, Rauha flicks on. Should have done better there, but Bayavang wins another header. Long ball forward, and this is where the trouble comes. They've got a 4-on-4. They're throwing everyone forward. Diego's in. It's a brilliant save from Ekon again. And I'm going to make a little adjustment here. The fullbacks will go to defensive duties because Spurs are leaving 4 up. And I don't want to get caught in the same position here. We are clinging on for what would be a priceless result. David Ekon has made a couple of good saves, but I'd still quite like the security of a third. As Azier delivers to the back post, Rauha's up. Straight to Sekiru. It is the benefit of having a good big striker up at the back stick, but it doesn't help us on the defensive side here. As Azier wins it back for Montero. Really good play. We're keeping that high line. We're keeping the ball, but then Puric passes it straight back to them. Flores to Babel, and now they've got support. 2 arriving in the middle from the left-hand side. Deflected. What are you doing, Ekon? Jesus, man. You've had such a good game, and then he just drops to the floor, nowhere near the ball. Time to get the time wasting on. We're going to drop to balance now. We're going to time waste all the time. We're going to be more disciplined. We're going to slow the pace down. We're going to drop those defensive lines as well, I think. There's no need for us to be high now. And I'm going to drop those 2 midfielders. Not sure who's better on the right of midfield out of Paleka and Rauha. Probably is Paleka, so I'm going to drop him in there. Zheng there, and we'll just leave Rauha as a floating number 10. Not sure he's going to be any use there, but, you know, we're not going to worry about that. Zheng will be a winger on support. Paleka will be a winger on support. And we'll have Rauha as an attacking midfielder on support. We'll probably just leave it at that. 3 minutes of stoppage time to go. And we've got a defender throwing here from Cena. Do not give this away. I mean, at the start of the night, a draw would have been a very good result. But now it would be heartbreaking as O'Donnell defends really well. Finds Gavin Reed, who has started off the bench very strongly here. Rauha picks the ball up in his number 10 role. And he finds Zheng, unfamiliar for him. Through ball to Bayavang, no. He can wrap it up to Hendry. I think he was offside. He hits the post. But it's a few crucial seconds gone. We're into the final minute of added time. And we are clinging on for dear life. But we've had our chances on the break. And Paleka's nicked the ball on the right to Rauha. He gives it away. Get to the corner flag, man, please. Diego goes wide to Mesut. O'Donnell intercepts. The deflection from the clearance is a panicked one. I mean, everyone's just all over the place. It's a jumble. But Puric nicks it. He's supposed to be candidate for World Young Player of the Year this year. And he's played like it for the most part today. He gives the ball to Montero. Dodgy back pass. Ekon does the right thing and boots it 80 yards. The full-time whistle goes. We've beaten one of the big boys. 2 of the top 10 in the Ballon d'Or. The best striker in world football. But not enough to beat Lisburn Distillery. Distillery 2, Tottenham Hotspur 1. And we should be in the top 8 of the Champions League group. Because the last 2 games are away with respect of Bodo Glimt and Legia, who are both in the bottom 5. Legia haven't even picked up a point yet. This could be that season we make history. I said I wanted the last 8 and there's no reason not to do it if we get a straight pass to the 16s. So what we're going to do now is get all the way through to the last 2 group stage games. If there's any doubt, then we'll come back. If not, we might even go ahead to the last 16s. We'll see how far we can get through. But that was a wonderful moment and a big result for our club this season. Finally, a victory against one of the big sides, and the next home European game we play should be back in front of our upgraded stadium. We also got our first trophy as we head for the clean sweep, and Linfield lost at home to Dungannon in the league, so we're going to win that one as well. If you want to stay up to date with how the rest of our final season goes and did enjoy that historic moment and fantastic result, then please do put a thumbs up on it. Let me know what you thought of the performances and where we're going to make progress the rest of the year. If you want to stay up to date and find out, subscribe and turn that notification bell on. My FM24 plans are up in the eye above if you've missed them. Come and follow us on Twitch as well, where we'll be live this evening. You can follow the football podcast and all the other links in the description below. Thank you very much for watching as always, and I'll see you back here tomorrow.